Welcome to Heel Ride with Jason, and with Mr. No Days Off, doesn't need a PA, gigantic dick, Jason Boyle, and me, Jake. And today we're interviewing Agency. So how long has Agency been a band?
Since October of 2021, right? I think that was when we had the first practice as a band.
Well, when did you guys start jamming? Like, is like you and Jeremy?
Yeah,
that's
what I kind of wanted to get to, because when we talked to Zach, he was like, "Yeah, they were already like kind of playing," and I just happened to be there one day and was like, "Did it?"
It was I think it's 2021. If it's 2020, I'm gonna feel it couldn't have been 2000. It had to be 2020.
Probably.
Yeah, because when was E-Rock Fest? 21?
Yeah, or no? I don't know. Let me look.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I mean, were you guys already a band whenever like Choke was going on? Because I remember like we played our first show with you guys' first show. And that was 2021.
Yeah, because
we played. So it started in 2020.
We played our first show a week after that.
So it's 2021.
Yeah.
All right. So Agency started in 2020. So for whatever reason, Choke was already started, and for whatever reason, I thought that I was going to be able to like write some like rock music or like something that wasn't distorted or like blast beats or anything. And we did like a couple practices with me and Jeremy, because Jeremy and I talked about doing something. And then
I completely forgot about all those.
Yeah,
you had like a song. He said song that sounded like Title Flight or something, like Floral Green Air.
But before that, so the first person I met in Beckley was Jeremy, and Jeremy and I started playing like I was just playing like Hurst riffs, and Jeremy would play drums. And then I met up with Zach McCracken, and he's like, "Well, we should do something." And I was like, "Well, let's." For whatever reason, at that time in my life, I was like, "I want to write something that's like not another band like Choke, but like a band that could play with Choke, since that's." That and the Wearing Hands and everything was kind of happening at that time.
Yeah.
Not that I was trying to follow a trend, but it was for whatever reason.
It'd just be cool to have a band to play with your buds. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like something fitting. And we had like a couple practices with me, Zach, other Zach, and Jeremy. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right. So I like completely changed my tuning, played like one song, which ended up being Tears and Rain on the first album. And
love that song.
We just like played, me and Zach and Jeremy played that for a little bit. There were no lyrics or anything, and it pretty much kept the exact same structure. And Zach was living with me at the time.
I didn't have to work one evening. He was like, "You should come," and I was like, "Okay." Just because I ended up doing vocals because I think Zach told me to or something.
Yeah. And it just like we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, "Yeah, that's funny," kind of how that worked. And
dude, I'm so glad it did. I'm so glad that happened.
It wasn't really supposed to. I think for the longest time we talked about like this isn't real, or like if it ever does anything, let's just record like on tape and like make it a secret. And it just we did our first show at Zach's house in the basement at E-Rock Fest, and I think the response was like we had to keep going.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was just
man.
Fun. It felt like I was like 19 years old again and like going crazy. It was cool.
It was wild response.
Well, everyone I've ever talked to, like everyone loves you guys. I've never met someone like, man, I don't know, that Agency band, they're not really, but like everyone's like,
Dicey.
Dude, Agency fucking rules.
Yeah.
I would say
so you guys too, even in the practice, and like it was just like this is something like right off the bat, like within you guys.
I think, because Jeremy really hadn't played drums for a while, and I was like itching to play riffs, so it was kind of just like you have 4 people. It's kind of the middle of COVID, and
we just had nothing else to do.
And it was it was like, damn, this is kind of fun.
Yeah,
and it just like evolved and got. It's not more serious. I mean, I don't think any of us take it more seriously than just playing with our friends, but it got like more fun progressively, and we got to ask them to play shows. And it was funny. When we started, we were playing in Zack McCracken's parents have an old trailer on their property, and we were playing in there, and like in the winter it'd be like 4 degrees outside, and we'd have like a big industrial like workspace heater in there going. And then once we got out of there, we went to Zach's house's basement, and then we moved to my basement, and it's just been crazy year by year watching it. It was like really wasn't supposed to be anything, and now that there's like t-shirts and tours, it is it's cool because it just
very, very beloved too. Like of all the West Virginia bands really popping off right now, you guys are up there. Like that's really cool. That it's just you guys being friends at the core of it. really is just wanting to play music together.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't sound corny. I mean, that's
I think that's where the best shit comes from, is just that natural like vibe of you with your boys or whatever, like playing some fucking music or whatever. You write the best shit and people respond to it more.
You guys, it's like you know each other real well, and like if somebody has an idea that's like kind of sucks, they're your friend, so you don't have to be like weird about it. You just be like, I don't know about it, man. Like you're comfortable with each other when you're friends with all the dudes in your band. Makes things way cooler.
It's crazy because like Ian moved here 2019 or 2020?
2019.
Yeah, and I just happened to go to Melody's, this bar that used to be open in Uptown Beckley. They would always have like jam band shows, and then like me and like people in the Choke House would go down there just to like get drunk and just see what people were doing because we were bored. And then I that's where I met Ian for the first time. He was wearing an I Hate God shirt.
No, you were wearing a Cursed shirt.
Oh, okay.
And you were wearing a I Hate God shirt.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh shit, this is.
And then you guys ended up playing with I Hate God, but there's a different shirt.
It's crazy. Yeah. Fucking. I didn't know Jeremy either. He's lived in Beckley, but he was never like active in the same circle as me. And that's why I met Jeremy, and he was wearing an I Hate God shirt for the first time. Yeah. And I was like, I
Did you meet I met Jeremy the first time too, and I was like, man, somebody else has like a fucking clue. Because it's like
did he like snub you the first time?
Well, the first time I met Jeremy, I'm not talking bad about him, but he was like funny. Jeremy's not like super like he's not rude or anything. He's just like not
super social, like
extroverted. So I blasted right up to him because I think I was probably drinking at the time, and I was like, dude, I love your shirt, and just totally like attacked him because I was like, this is the only dude at this bar that like
I relate to,
and like I was like overwhelmed him so bad that he was kind of like, yeah,
dude, you're fucking weird,
which was like totally my fault because I'm sure I was like way overbearing. But then, I mean, it's great because now we're, great friends. But
you gotta find your tribe, though. Was agency the first time you went full into singing? Because I know you play guitar a lot, Zach, or whatever. Was that your first solo just singer?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I'd always.
What do you like doing better?
Any other band ever? Yeah.
You like doing vocals better or playing guitar?
I like doing vocals better because it doesn't stress me out at all.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Ian, you like playing drums or playing guitar better? Because I know you played drums at the end of Choke, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Playing drums is so badass. Like it just feels powerful, but like playing drums is so fucking nerve wracking because it's. I mean,
everybody
the whole structure to everything.
Yeah, and if you mess up on guitar, you're like, okay,
Oh yeah, you mess up on drums, you fuck everybody up.
So I don't know. I guess it's like having a favorite kid. I like both equally. I think playing drums is definitely more nerve wracking, but playing guitar is just, I think, more fun as a whole. Like there's less to worry about, and even like
that's how I feel. Also, really, I love playing guitar live too. But I don't know. I always get nervous when I play guitar. I don't get nervous when I'm just doing vocals.
See, I don't get nervous to play guitar because I know I'm not very good and I'm going to mess up anyway. And playing drums, I'm like, you gotta like hold everybody together. Because I heard somebody say one time, your band, you're two things. You're only as good as your last show, and your band is only as good as your drummer. And I think both are like dead true.
Plus, there's like drummers are in their weird like own like elite world, dude. Like if there's a drummer at a show, he's like got his eyes on the drummer.
Yeah,
like everyone.
Other drummers.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I've had guitar players come up to me that are like actual shredders and like really good guitar players. Like our friends in this band called Snooky from Athens, Georgia.
I think Zach told us about that last time.
Yeah, both of their guitar players are fucking phenomenal. Like
they were one of the coolest hardcore punk bands I've ever seen, honestly.
And
yeah, they were so good.
And like he can tell that like I suck at guitar and I just have like and he came up to me and he's like, dude, what's up, Ripper? And I'm like like that's so cool because
almost like condescending.
As far as drummers go, it's like, real recognizes real, and there's, not every drummer is gonna blow smoke up every other drummer's ass.
True, but your tone, man, your guitar tone,
it's been painstakingly created. He's spent years owning in that sound specifically that we have now.
Dude, I love it. I think that's like that's one of like, what is it?
I said it's just taken a really long time.
Yeah, that's one of the things that like I think stands out with you guys. I mean, like I love everything about like I was telling Jake in the first episode. I think it was like fucking like everything about y'all's band, man. Just fucking riffs, fucking piss vocals, just relentless drums, but the guitar tone, man. I'm just like, fuck, it's just so good.
Thank you, man. There's no better compliment, and I'm sure everybody in this has got it before. But like, I mean, like. To have someone compliment you after your set is cool, but like to have someone take a picture of your pedal board, which like has happened a few times, and that's like I'm not really as much of a pedal geek as like Zach is, but
I've seen his board earlier actually on Facebook or something.
Oh, I'm selling off a bunch of my shit and redoing my board. Go hit me up on Facebook.
Promo that shit, dude.
Yeah, hit up Facebook Marketplace.
So where'd you move here from? You say you moved here in 2019?
Yeah, so I finished school. I finished school in 2019, and I was, for some reason, like subconsciously really wanted to get out of, I was living in Western Pennsylvania, and I really wanted to get out. And for whatever reason, I couldn't tell you why, but it just kind of organically happened. I just took a job in Beckley, and I couldn't tell you why, like to this day in that moment when I took it, but like, it sounds corny again, but like the fact that I met the people I met, and there's not a ton of, this isn't Nashville or like New York City where there's, people. I mean, this is like a super small town in a state that doesn't really have that many people. And like the fact that I've met the people that I've met, I feel like the fact that it's not so huge, it's not diluted. So like, every connection you make, you kind of remember a little bit more. And the people that I've met have just been like so cool to me. Like as an outsider to just like come in and like, like joining Choke or like joining bands or like having ideas. Cause I'm not a West Virginian and I don't,
You are now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is now.
See, but I would never claim that. I would let a West Virginian tell me that, but it's, I moved here for work, and my plan was to, leave after about 9 months, and COVID happened, and I was on the phone with my friend, and I was like, you know what? I think this is going to be a cool place to be, because I mean, because you couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you go to New York or like the city,
any city,
Pittsburgh, like everything's closed, and here it was like, let's go to the river, let's go hike, let's go swim, the cool shit, that's the shit that I grew up doing, and I don't need to go to a Top Golf or like a cool, like a fucking cool restaurant or anything. I don't care.
About that. So, fucking gourmet Cheetos or whatever. Yeah, fucking. Yeah, man, that's badass. That like you came here almost on a whim or like a weird job you didn't care about, and you created a legacy here, really, like musically with the boys down there, and not just with agency, but you guys are doing a side project too, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, that's when I got here. It was I had nothing, and then Choke was just kind of getting started, and then
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had another like
grindcore. I don't know.
Kind of a grindcore band for a little bit. But it was just shit you're doing with like the biggest part was I was with friends that were like really all the time, and I wasn't gonna leave that. They're like, oh, if I go back to Pittsburgh, you know, there's more bars to drink at. It was just like, I'm here with like people I'm having a blast with and are like very creative and just nice people. So
we got the backstory on Zack last time that Sugar Ray's what got him into hardcore. What got you into hardcore and like the more aggressive sounding music and punk rock or whatever it was?
It wasn't Sugar Ray. It was much. Mine was like
was it Mean Machine.
So, like when I was growing up, my mom and dad both listened to like I would call it like alternative. So like my mom listened to like the Cranberries and like she was real big into Dave Matthews, and my dad was really big into like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, like that obviously Nirvana. And I think like that, like, and then I realized that like there were heavier songs of like Alice in Chains, and I was like, damn, this shit's kind of way harder than like, you know, the Soundgarden that's on the radio. Like, there's some Soundgarden that's darker than like, you know, people that try to be hardcore. So it was that, and then like that kind of bled into like the band Cursed.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I didn't have like a traditional introduction to hardcore where it was like. First hardcore band everyone hears about.
It just depends on how old you are, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't into like, I don't know. The first time I heard Curses, I was like, okay, I'm still to this day, I'm not really huge on like the
Curse poster right there.
That's kind of like the shit I'm really into too. You know what I mean? Like, cause like I was telling Jake one time, it was like before I got into like hardcore or whatever, like I was listening to shit like deathcore, you know, like funny story, side story. I had to get into one of my old emails, and the fucking password was Amir420. And the funny thing, I don't listen to Amir or smoke weed anymore. It's just fucking weird.
It's still a part of your mood.
It's like I just happened to like one of my boys down in Huntington like showed me Nails, and I think from there I found like Dead in the Dirt, like Baptist, and like all the shit I'm into now. I mean, I'll listen to some hardcore, like you know, the trash talk, backtrack, like all that kind of shit. But like deathcore was my shit, you know. Yeah. And then whenever I found this, I'm like, all right, this is my shit. This is what I need to fucking play, because it's like it changed my fucking view, man. It changed my world.
Like the first time I heard like, you know, Curse, Baptist, Dead in the Dirt, stuff like that. I'm trying to think of like stuff before that I'd have been listening to that was like a big transition. I guess there was some technical death metal or like some technical or more death metal type stuff. I mean, like obviously like Slayer and the whole metal thing when you're like in middle school, but there was always something about the bands that like, and it's funny we mentioned like the guitar tone, because it was like, wow, they sound like a hardcore band, but their guitars sound like way cooler to me. Like I've never been like a huge fan of like the 5150 with the, you know,
Tube Screamer.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome for it in its own regard. It's just like I always found myself like getting really stuck to like different tones or like
the HM2
different or less traditional, or like I'm always like a big fan of like a really loose sounding, like a guitar that's kind of not really like set up properly. It has like some jangle to it, you know.
Yeah, I get you, man.
Stuff on the fringes of what's like everybody else is doing, only because there's less of it and it sticks out more.
Yeah, that's a funny thing, because somebody like this other podcast I listened to, somebody like called in or something and asking like what if that somebody can point them into the direction of stuff like Dead in the Dirt and stuff like that, and the guy was like, man, really, that shit had its moment, you know, in 2013, but there's not a whole lot of bands doing it now. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, there aren't really a whole lot of bands still doing that style, but that's like my shit. That's like my favorite kind of stuff to play. Like,
yeah, I had a friend tell me a while ago that he's like, it's kind of like that shit had its time, but I think like if that drives you and that inspires you and people are still listening to it and or maybe pay attention to what our like views or listens are, but like if that's what influences you and you still have it, like you are able to get it out and write songs, I think it's awesome that it's there's so few bands like that, because when you meet people and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe you've heard of that band. It just makes sense.
No, but
I think that's cool shit.
Zach does have a pretty interesting story of how he got into music and hardcore and all that, and it's kind of similar to yours with your parents or whatever. But so, like, what got you into hardcore and like this kind of style of music, Zach?
Well, my dad showed me a bunch of like cool music when I was younger. Like, he was always like a classic rocker. Like, he was into like cool alternative country bands too. But he always paid attention to like alternative music and stuff too. And he showed me, like, he had like a Sonic Youth cassette and like a Ministry cassette. And I always saw like he had like a pile of CDs like on our computer desk, like when we used to have dial-up internet and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And he had like You're Living All Over Me by Dinosaur Jr. in it and stuff like that. And I was always intrigued by that name and stuff. Like I got into like heavier music through like the same way most people around my age did, which is like through like metalcore and like fucking like emo rock from like the late 2000s or mid to late 2000s, like shit like that. Yeah, like a lot of post-hardcore shit and stuff like that. And like my favorite band like that really got me into playing guitar was like Fall Out Boy. Like the first like couple Fall Out Boy.
Hell yeah.
I still like them. I got no shame saying that.
Dude, that first I Would Take This to Your Grave, dude.
I love that record,
front to back, dude. Like, there's not a bad song on it. I still rock it, man. Windows down on a nice day. Put that shit on. It's good.
It always reminds me of like playing video games and shit when I was like a kid. Like that, video games were a big part of it too. Like Tony Hawk and like
that's
Guitar Hero and like
I should have mentioned that in mine.
A lot of racing games had really cool soundtracks too.
Fuck yeah, they did. Some soccer games had some pretty dope soundtracks too back in the day.
I'm gonna butt in on your story if it's cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because Zach and I both like this band a lot, and it's funny because it like happened so early on that I didn't notice it, and now they're like, you see them all over like old Instagram pages. But I used to watch these videos growing up that my dad would download from Napster called Crusty Demons, and they were just like dudes riding dirt bikes. And the one video is Alan's on Fire by Poison Idea.
Oh hell yeah!
And that's how like I think it's on Field of Darkness. And I remember hearing that song and being like, this doesn't sound like anything else. Like, what the fuck? And it was, I think that came out in like the late 90s, so I was probably watching it early 2000s. And that and like Poison Idea. I'm trying to think of who else. Like there was, and then like a Ministry song was in there, and now like Zach and I share that as a lot of old influence.
A lot of old like the whole BAM CKY Jackass era was big music too. Like fucking all that shit for sure too, and skate videos and dirt bike
videos and BMX videos had so much good music in it.
Yeah,
for
it's like
the 90s and early 2000s.
Good music.
Yeah, any sports with wheels always have like good music usually. From NASCAR to skateboarding. There's usually some good shit in there.
What was your guys' worst show? Like, that you can both agree, like, yeah, that was a fucking total fucking piece of shit show we just played.
The first Morningtime show or the basement show?
I don't know. I think the funniest one is the Pennsylvania one where I was so.
Oh yeah, drunk. We'll go with that one. All right, should we? Yeah, we
tell the whole story.
You want me to tell the whole story? Okay. So we played a show in Pennsylvania, like probably about 45 minutes, an hour outside of Pittsburgh. My friends own a bar there, and they asked us to come up and play. And I think it was a Friday show, so we all took off work on Friday and left at like noon. So it took us like. It should have taken us 5 hours to get there. I'm sure it ended up taking longer, but we
Stopped at the liquor store.
The first stop we made was at the liquor store, pulling out of Beckley. So
gotta stop the liquor store.
Yeah, and then a 5-hour drive. So as you can imagine, by the time we get there, we're pretty tuned up. And I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but I mean, I guess you can edit this out. So yeah, we stop at the liquor store, drive to Pennsylvania. First thing we do, we get there, load in all of our gear, and we have obviously mountains of amps, and we're pretty proud of that. And so we had 3 big strikes of bad things. I used the restroom immediately as soon as we got to the facility and flooded the toilet, which then flooded the bar, the basement where the stuff was. And then Zach, there was a guy crowd killing during the band before us, and he crowd killed a girl. And I mean, say what you want, whatever. And Zach got in the pit, not you.
Other Zach, yeah, it was other
Zach. Picked him up over his head. The dude was a massive biker. Picked him up over his head and body slammed him.
Fuck yeah.
And then our third strike was probably our set.
Where the third strike for me was I drank 6 of these fucking
Jim Beam
soda cans, a 6-pack.
I had one of those.
And then when we got there, I immediately just started drinking more. I think I smoked a joint as soon as we got there too. And I was just in it to have a good time. I think this is probably what 7th or 8th show.
Yeah, I can tell you which show it was, but I remember I looked over at Zach and I said, we were about to go on probably 20 minutes and we were getting ready to start loading our stuff up on stage. And I looked at Zach, and the bartender, or the bar owner, kept bringing us shots because he was homies with us, and they were happy to have us there. Funny thing, after that show, he told us that we were the fattest band that ever came through there.
Fattest?
Fattest sounding.
Oh, okay.
So he shook the wall.
I was like, what?
Thick sound. I got you.
Yeah, but I looked over at Zach, and I said, "You ready to go, man?" And you looked at me and said, "Ready for what?" I said, "You ready to go?" And you said, "Go where?"
Yeah, I drink.
Did you take
up in Cleveland?
Did you take ownership for overflowing the shitter?
No,
that was me.
I just told the world for the first time just now.
Oh, yeah.
It's happened a couple of times to our band,
Yeah.
where we have fucked up the toilets at a place on accident. It just happens.
Yo, singer of Dragged actually said that he has the same pregame ritual as you, Zach, last night or whatever. You both take massive shits before you play shows or whatever.
I can't take a massive shit. I end up shitting 3 or 4 times before we play.
It could be a massive shit, but you broke it up into a couple shits.
I just can't get it all out at once. It won't let me. I wish
I could take a break.
Yeah.
Picture off.
Girl came up to us in the middle of the set and asked Zach if we were a cover band and if we would play a Slipknot song.
I didn't catch that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You should have.
It was during our set. She walked up to me and was like, she was like, "Do you guys?" She said, "Do you guys play covers?" And I was like, "Not really." She's like, "Would you guys play a Slipknot song?" I was like, "I don't think we could."
Do you just play Mudvayne Dig?
I don't think. Yeah. What if we could?
I probably still wouldn't.
Covers are weird anymore. When we first started, we'd play covers constantly. We'd just be bored all the time practicing. So we just I know this riff, I know this, and we just do covers. Now it's we gotta take time out of practicing new songs or whatever our sets to fucking do covers. Fuck them.
We've kind of had talks about covers before, and it kind of all ends with meh.
Yeah.
It's taking time away from writing our own stuff, and covers are cool when you hear a band do a cover in their own way.
Yep.
You don't want to ever hear a band do a cover that's way too close to them.
Yeah.
Going for you don't want to cover if we covered I don't know someone that sounded like us.
Our grindcore cover of rendition of Rock Lobster would go hard though.
Yeah. That's the thing. You don't want to pick something that's too on the nose. So we always kind of love to cover Thin Lizzy or Motley Crue or
something like that. Tom Petty covering Nuclear Future for years, and they won't do it. So
I want to do
Billy
something
wants
that's like
us to
a
do
cover of like a
Gaza
song
cover.
in the garage when you're like working on your car, like
Yeah.
radio music.
Because Stress Fracture does an Alice in Chains cover for Soundcheck, and I just think it's
Damn, that
pretty
record.
sick.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That rules. Having a cover for Soundcheck is fucking awesome, and that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
That's a good cover.
Yeah, they're great dudes, great musicians. The Alice in Chains, like that's a good example of like I try to listen to West Virginia bands, but I don't always get around to her. Even if they're my friends, it doesn't always like resonate with me. But as soon as they played that cover when we played with them as their sound check, I was like,
"Oh hell yeah,
yeah, hell yeah!" Like that's that's a good example of like a cover that's they're not too close to each other. They're great musicians. It was beautifully done.
That's like like how you were saying, like something too close. Like Billy, our guitar player, man, he's been bugging me about doing like this Gaza cover, and I'm like, dude.
Damn.
We're not necessarily like the same shit, but we're kind of too close to the same shit to where it'd just be weird. Like it'd be, it just wouldn't. There wouldn't be any fun in it, really, for me. Anyway,
what Gaza song? Just curious.
I don't remember which one he was wanting to do, but like he's like kept on like, dude, we gotta do it. Let's do a Gaza cover. Let's do it. Man, I don't know, man.
A couple of the albums are, correct me if I'm wrong, I think at least one of the albums is like in like the weirdest tuning. Like I
never learned how to play any of it on guitar, but I think it is. Yeah.
I don't care where I go when I die is in like the craziest tuning, and I can't like to get everybody to do that. I mean, I can't fucking imagine that. That's the other reason we don't really fuck with
dude. And then like just for one song to tune like that, and then go back to drop C.
Yeah,
that'd be a pain in the ass. Yeah, for a cover. All right, hold on, guys. We got a tune.
I think it probably feel kind of weird or bad if you played a cover and people went off more to the cover than your own songs too. Like, and I've seen that happen to people. Like, I don't want to do a cover too good because everybody will like our cover and like not our shit or something.
That's the other thing, and I think we've worked pretty hard as a band to like both of your bands have. I mean, you want to have a certain amount of continuity in your set, and you don't want to there's bands where you can go and you watch them play, and they play one song and then they stop and talk to the crowd, and they play another song and talk to the crowd. I think we play best when
we just blast.
There's noise from beginning to end, and it's completely unrelentless. And just about the time, I mean, I'm sure everybody else is sick of it the whole time, but just about the time you're sick of hearing yourself play, it's over.
Dude, I was gonna ask, is that like feedback part of your like guys is on? Okay, because like somebody was like, no, they're feedbacking a lot, and I was like, I think that's what they do, dude. Like that's part of
dude, we do it too. We do that shit too. And this girl Billy brought to a show one time, like this girl he was talking to, I guess she didn't realize that that's our thing. We do feedback, and she's like, next time, I think you guys need to step a little further away from the speakers when you play.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you see us play, like me and Zach are pretty intentional about like the way we put the pickups on the guitars, like on the speakers, and the way that you will like put the microphone on the speaker. Like we're pretty noisy intentionally. And I mean, like a big inspiration for that is I Hate God. Like they're just that big noisy wall that they have going on. And
I thought that was such like, I don't know. I've never really seen that in particular to use the feedback like that throughout like the little breaks between songs, because that can get like deathly quiet and like a weird vibe going, but it completely kills that all together throughout your whole set.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
So I don't think
I don't talk between songs, so we have that little feedback just to kind of guide us into the next little joint.
I don't really like talking between songs. If I do, I say I just like give appreciation and
yeah.
I don't ever really say anything else. I just say like thank you for being here, because I mean really if nobody comes, like what the fuck, it's
playing for the boys again. I talk a lot of shit. I don't know. I used to not when I was younger, and I just felt like I was real fucking awkward. So without
I love your stage better, dude. It cracks me up every time. It's awesome.
A lot of people give me a lot of good feedback on it, but sometimes I'm like, I'm too fucking goofy up here, dude. I'm just saying the wildest shit, and like I don't even know what I'm saying until afterward. I'm like, fuck, I said that. That's fucking weird as fuck, dude.
Now, dude,
when y'all's bass player, or when Paul was trying to be like super like heartfelt, and you were just like fucking at Agrofest, and you just kept like cutting him off, dude. It was so fucking funny.
That's happened a couple times.
A lot of people will say shit like that, Jake, but I think people don't realize what it's like to have a microphone in your hand or in your face, and
to like talk to.
Yeah, all three of you like do a really like fantastic job of that, because like people say like, oh, I wouldn't have done that, or I'd have said that. Like, until you have a room full of people like staring,
you don't know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
So all respect.
I also don't like planning out my banter. I feel like that's always fake and it takes away from the performance. So I'm just like, whatever's happening and I can comment on or say or whatever's going through my head, that's just what I do. So
it's always good. It's always very funny. I love it.
I appreciate that.
A band has to have multiple elements to it, I think. Not to get philosophical, but like you got it. Like some bands, you just have to have that, and other bands it doesn't work well. We don't do well with like having anything serious or somber. We're not a very
serious people.
Yeah.
Really.
I knew when I said I'm going to grab the mic, and I just meant I was going to yell a little bit, and you're like, yeah, fucking sing this song with me. And I was like, well, shit, man, I'll do like the end or whatever. Like, you can't take your band, well, not like you don't take it seriously, but you know what I mean? Like, to just have somebody like never practice with you or whatever, I'm just like, all right, let's fucking do this or whatever.
Well, no, we're just four fucking guys who like noisy ass music, and in this direction. I mean, like, we all have different directions in which we point our creativity. Obviously Zach has, his other bands that he's in that are in a completely different direction. As do I, as does Zach, and Jeremy's a very multifaceted person. But I think agency is a really good representation of like that particular
style for each of us.
Yes, like that. If like the horn that sticks out on our creativity, it just points that way, and that's how we go with it, and that's why I think it
makes all the sense in the world to me. Because I do different shit. Like, I'm editing videos, doing designs, and all that shit. Like, that's that and writing lyrics and singing or whatever. So I get that. Like, you have to have, like, if you have that within you, you have to get it out the ways you can get it out. Do you guys self-record, or do you go to somebody?
So for our, you care if I answer? No, for our first record, we went to our friend Robbie Lanham at Monarch Entertainment in Beckley. He's taking work, so if you want a record done, hit him up. But like since then, I mean, our other band records itself. We're not real big sticklers on like, for this band, like we want it to kind of sound
raw.
Yeah. So like, like Jeremy and I are and you to an extent are into like a good bit of black metal and things that are quite low quality. And I think
just like old hardcore punk.
Yeah. Like the term like lo-fi these days gets really misconstrued, and it's kind of because people think that lo-fi means like you put a filter on like somebody made on like a really expensive DAW, and we're okay with like a few mics. It's like just enough to make it sound like the song is,
Actually, my buddy, which and he's always like promoting your guys' shit, Dalton, I think he hit you up here recently, Zach, about like what you guys use to practice and stuff with, because he was asking me, but we have a full PA system. And I'm like, to start, you can just do a bass amp or something, sing through that if you want to, dude.
Hey, man, yeah.
We have one fucking PA speaker and like a powered mixer. That's it. We don't mic anything like when we practice and stuff. If we record, he has like a drum mic set up and a couple SM57s for fucking guitar, and that's
Yeah, we keep it pretty simple, and like we've talked about, we've had people offer us like to do either singles or like another EP, and it kind of just really works better with us doing it on our own time, because even though like I would say if we were writing any different kind of style of music, I would be a stickler about audio production. But in this vein, I feel like there's me personally, I only want to go so far production wise with this type of music, and then I feel like you
cross that line or whatever, and like take the rawness away from it. I thought that was gonna happen to us with our like fucking studio recordings or whatever, and in a way it did, but I think it makes it sound a lot better going to that, because we have the same setup for like our demos, and I was cool with just releasing them as they were, but then we went and did that, and I was like, yeah, that added a whole other layer to like what we sound like, a more like
the thing with like going someplace for me now is like, well, a lot of the time I don't write lyrics or really think about stuff until it's time to record it. I will have like certain phrases, like there's songs we play live that I don't have lyrics to except for in certain parts, and like if I have the time to like sit and do it and not have to worry about like wasting studio time, it works out a lot better for me, because like I honestly hate my vocals on Infinite, because I didn't think about like if I want this part to be like a high scream or a low scream in certain spots and stuff, and like I really, really like anytime I listen to that, it just kind of makes me cringe personally on my performance.
No, man, I love it. I think you made the right choices. I think you did good.
Thank you. I just wish that I could have added my own production spin on it, because you know what I mean.
Like had more time to fully like envision it and like attempt it.
Like on our new stuff, I'm going to think about that a whole lot harder.
But that's the other thing. Not to cut you off, I think what's good about that though is like that's the first time we heard ourselves recorded.
Yeah.
So
it was. I mean, other than that, it's great. I think it sounds great. Yeah.
And like my guitar tone sounds, I think, too big, and it makes me sound like I have too much power as a guitar player, and I really want it to kind of sound like
shrill.
There's kind of less of a guitar. Anyway, but like it's just kind of a snapshot of like where we were at that moment. So we didn't really know what we were going to sound like
at all. Yeah.
So and then the next thing sounded different, and the next thing sounded different. I think for our next batch, we kind of know more what we're trying to. We know what we sound like, but just getting it to come out the other side.
I think our next recording are like probably our best, because I think our new songs are some of like our best songs. Honestly,
bold statement, Zach.
I really do.
Be the best agency.
And we know what we want to be like now,
and we know
you've had the time to collectively like get it together and visualize it and have it all prepared.
And I think the other thing we try to do is, I'll speak on my behalf. I won't speak for anybody else, but trying to write things that like aren't out of your, you always want to challenge yourself, but sometimes if you play right below where you're most challenged, where you're really good, you can get a lot done there, and it's really impactful. And it'll really resonate with a lot of people.
Instead of trying to fucking like push yourself.
Yeah. I've always found that like bands and like even like major bands like White Stripes, Seven Nation Army, they're always the songs that you kind of just shit out of you. Like they're like nothing songs. They're like, yeah, that's a good song or whatever. And then you spend all this time on these other songs and people don't like them, but it's the fucking Seven Nation Armies that you fucking were like, I didn't even want to put that on the record because I thought it was a bland ass song or whatever.
It's usually the riffs that like accidentally come out when you first pick up the guitar and you're like, oh shit, I gotta go back and record that.
Right.
Yeah.
Since we last talked last weekend when shit got fucked up and it didn't record, I said that we didn't really have that many songs done yet. We gotta like kick it into overgear. He's recorded like 3 songs since then, and I wasn't thinking, but we have like probably like 15 songs that we like did and then never did anything with them.
Oh shit.
So it's like we have like an infinite supply of material ready to go, really.
We just haven't really condensed everything, and it's kind of sifting through like what's gonna, like what we can serve, what songs we can play like really well live, because I think
that's what matters the most.
Yeah, we don't have very much music out, but I think if you see us live, hopefully it leaves more of an impression than what you would hear.
Yeah. I think a lot of bands like in this, certain style. I mean, like there's a lot of bands that I listen to, like, and I just kind of listen to them once and then whatever. But then I see them live and I'm like, holy shit, man, this shit fucking rules. You know what I mean? Like, so like the live show, I think is where it's at, especially for like hardcore and heavy music.
If anybody thinks they're gonna get a bunch, like millions of streams and make money off this shit, then they're fucking insane. Like, it's all about getting live and being a good live band. Like, having a good recording, though, is nice, though. Like, to have your shit to listen to later on. Yeah. But yeah, it's all about playing good live.
I have full faith that we'll be able to make their new recording sound really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, we've, since then, we've been doing a lot more music production since like the last
both
demos.
Of us.
Yeah. Like we've self-recorded the entire like Jane Deere like stuff that's about to come out. And
yeah, you never sent me that.
I did send it to you. I emailed it to you.
I never got it in my email.
I swear to God, I sent it to you and Flynn from Gasket at the same time. I put them both in because he was wanting to hear it too.
No, I checked all 5 of my emails because I have like too many emails, and I went through them. I didn't see it. So
message me your email again, and I'll make sure. But I'm almost positive I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I will for sure do it because I really want to hear it. I heard the little clip from the fucking Instagram story. I'm digging the sound. So
even though like the things that I have done is not what is going to be. It's like we've since then re-recorded everything at our guitar player. Like he was a guitar player in Choke, Josh. He's the other guitar player.
Yeah.
He's bought like so much fucking studio equipment and stuff because he's wanting to like do that a lot now. And we re-recorded everything with like we had like a 14 mic drum setup and like he's got like compressors and has got all these like plugins and shit now, and we've been fucking with it, and he's got our drum sounding like crazy good. Like it sounds really good. Like I'm excited for it to be like out, but through doing all that stuff,
be excited for it, dude.
I'm excited myself, really.
Yeah, me too. But like that's what Zach was saying. Through doing all that, me and him have kind of
learned more.
Yeah.
I mean, music production shit, if you don't like go to school for it, the way you get better at it is by fucking doing it and watching YouTube videos and fucking doing it more
and failing and putting out sucks and taking feedback. And
I think that's every artistic endeavor. Do it, fail at it, do it, fail at it, and you just grow and get better at every aspect of it.
Yeah.
We didn't, like I said, we didn't practice today because all my dudes were doing Mother's Day stuff except Billy. So he came over, and that's kind of what we did. Like, I record all our shit on GarageBand right now, but he's getting me he's getting me into like Logic and stuff. Like we sat here and just fucked around forever.
Isn't Logic further step up from GarageBand though?
Yeah, it's like Logic Pro or some shit. It's like it's pretty much the same deal, except he was trying to explain all this stuff to me, and like he's just like. He knows what he like went to school for it and everything. So he knows like all kinds of shit. And he's trying to explain all this stuff to me real fast. And I'm like, yo, can you tell me that other thing again? Cause I was still thinking about that when he went to something else, you know, it's a lot to take in, man.
Yeah. The most important thing in recording like music and like doing stuff like that is EQ, I think. Like it's like if you can get EQ and like actually mixing the song where it's supposed to be down and then know when to use other effects with like what instruments and stuff, then you got it. It's pretty much it. But it is a lot. It is.
Talking people through performances is tough. And like preparing for performances and, you know, setting up drums to play.
Mike.
So Jason, you asked earlier what I like playing drums or guitar more. I would rather never sit behind a recorded drum kit ever again. Guitar, I'll do it all day. For some reason, it's just not as stressful. Just drums behind a kit are just, you know, maybe it's because the music's already there if you're doing it, or the drum's already there if you're playing guitar. But
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking too. It's probably like, you're laying the groundwork, man. Everybody else is waiting on you. Yeah,
which is nice because this time through with the Jane Deere stuff, we had 2 songs I think that were kind of like hey, we need to come back to this, like stuff that got frustrating because that happens. And then we had a couple that were 1 or 2 takes.
You did, I think, 3 or 4 of them in one take.
Yeah,
and it was
hell yeah,
oh yeah.
So
that's sick, man.
Hexagon's what fucked you up.
Yeah, well, I had a great one, and
oh yeah, I forgot.
But yeah, the new agency shit is gonna be
cool.
But it's gonna be all self. Like I think we've deviated so far from your question. I'm sorry, but the question was
this was all informal. Like it's good shit.
Well, that's it. We're gonna do it ourselves. I think 99%.
Because I feel like that's the best way, man.
Yeah, we have enough confidence in ourselves to make it sound at least as good as it needs to be.
Yeah,
and
that's the other thing. This band doesn't need to spend more money on.
And not only that, we don't want to spend like $2,000 doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but if you can do it yourself, why not do it yourself?
Yeah.
Like.
And for anybody out there, we're not claiming to have good production. Even when we do it ourselves, we're doing this shit
here first. Agency says they got good production.
No, our demos are pretty rough, really. Yeah,
like really rough, and that's fine. Like I'm into that. Like if I'm listening to, oh god, like off the top of my head, like 90s alternative, I want good production, but like I want my shitty black metal like recorded on a fucking toaster. Yeah. That's our other band practices on Friday nights, and I honestly, like in the summer when it's nice out, like I can't stand it because it's like
I'm finally free from work and now I have to go do something else.
In the winter it's fun. Yeah. What the fuck else are you gonna do when there's snow outside? But
yeah,
that agency. I'm not gonna lie, I've been lacking motivation for practice for a while. Usually we just go in and basically do our set. Like, I think we're pretty fine at that. Yeah. But, like, I really only like practice when we're fucking around with something new. Like, if we're just doing our set 2 or 3 times and then leaving, then I'm like, I don't really care to do that.
Yeah, that's what sucks for us.
It's definitely not the way it should be, but,
Oh, I said we practice here, dude. Like my bass player lives up like towards like Pomeroy, and the rest of my guys live in Charleston, and I'm like right in the middle in Ripley. So you practice here, and it kind of sucks. Like if we're like practicing for like like if we have a show coming up or shows or whatever, we just like come here and we literally just run the set, and our set's so fucking short, dude. Like I feel like they waste their time driving all the way here, but like so we try to at least run through, try to work on some new shit every time we actually get together. But dude, like, I just feel like a dickhead sometimes. I'm like, man, you guys drove all the way here. We practiced for like an hour. And now everyone's leaving.
We're a pretty procrastinating band, like for agency anyway. I mean, our other band practice is like honestly the opposite, but agency's like sometimes we won't talk to each other for like
if we don't have a show.
If we don't have a show, we won't talk for like. I mean, we'll talk to each other, but we won't talk about music for like months. Before we went on tour the last time, I don't know if I should save this for later because it's kind of funny, but it's like the last tour we went on, like with everyone's Christmas schedule and everything. Like I think we practiced one time and then like drove to Florida to start the tour. It's just great. Like, we haven't played for like.
I hadn't saw Zach for like 2.5 months. I hadn't saw him that amount of time.
And Jeremy and I would like mess around like here and there, and then we pretty much just decided on a set list, practice the songs once or twice maybe.
No,
and then
it just took off.
Just drove to Florida to.
Sometimes that's all you need, though, man. Just like to shake the rust off, and then you're good to go.
Yeah,
we've got our set dialed down. Like I feel confident. Just like not practice for a month and go play a show and do it. It wouldn't be that.
We've done it.
I'm not even as confident as you guys, and we do that all the time because I'm like, fuck it, dude. We don't have to practice. We're clutch. Like,
it is so fun.
You guys love.
It's so fun to bring new shit to like to band practice or like get a hair up your ass and like. start writing new stuff, and then like it gives you a reason, like something to think about when you go home. Because otherwise, you go home and you're like, "Well, I play the songs again." That's why we don't practice, like unless we have something to do. Because it's like, why would we?
Yeah, it sucks for me too. Because I don't live in Beckton. I live in Shady Spring. It's not really that far.
Peterstown.
Yeah, I used to just fucking drive a mile, but now I have to drive a fucking road that is literally always has terrible traffic to get to Beckley. Usually, whenever we have to do something,
I'd say we still have it pretty good compared to like what you hear from.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all still within like a 15-mile radius.
Yeah, everybody Jeremy and Zach all live within like a couple minutes of each other, and like you hear other bands that talk about like they meet up and they live hours and hours.
Yeah,
like I feel bad because I'm like, I haven't seen anybody in my band for 4 months, and we're leaving next week, and they all live
like
a mile away.
Like the Fall 50 Feet dudes don't even live like remotely close to each other. They all live in like different states and shit. I think like two of them, like that's like
shit. Yeah, that would be too hard. There's a bunch of like pretty big hardcore bands that are like that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like I think we're all actually like friends. So like, there's times where the four of us will just be hanging out, like
go play or go bowling or something.
Yeah, like there's nothing music related. Like we don't talk about music. There's never like somebody will maybe say like, "Oh, we should write a song," or like it. But it's I don't know, like what a couple. It was like 2 years ago we went hiking. We just like listened to 311 all day. And and like kicked trees over and like hung out at the river and.
Yeah, it was fun.
Me, Paul, and T-Ray, and Kirk, Sweet T, were all talking about just starting to hike on like a Saturdays or something like that. Just fucking doing that shit and like no band stuff, no music stuff, because it does get a lot like it or whatever. Because these are like my best friends, and sometimes it's like all we talk to each other about is music or making music or designs or art and bullshit.
Not me, dude. It fucking sucks. It must be nice because, man, I'll be at work. And then look at my phone, and then I'll have like 50 fucking messages in the band group chat, and none of it has anything to do with anything important. It's just like it's usually just them arguing with each other and shit. Like, God damn.
I say ours is pretty tame. It's usually like,
y'all want to do this day?
Yeah,
like a meme or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't think I could do this band unless all four of us were like this good of friends, though.
Yeah,
I think that's just like the dynamic.
Yeah. If it was anybody else in this band, it would be just like weird.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that. Like, this is another thing. Like, I don't know if we're being recorded or I should say this, but like,
it's recording, but like we're not. I haven't really done the intro yet or anything.
We can scrap it in or whatever. We can cut it in.
I was gonna say I think all four of us have said at one point, like, if any one person wasn't in this band, like, we wouldn't do it. Because
same thing with us, with Nuclear Future. Like, if Tyler or Austin or Paul wasn't a part of it, I wouldn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably want to fuck around with some weird shit, like goth fucking weird moan stuff or something.
Well, that's what happened with MSL, dude. Like, Ryan moved to Morgantown, and, like, me and Bo were just like, should we look for another drummer? Because it just honestly wouldn't even be our band without all three of us, you know? It'd just be fucking weird. So we just kind of haven't done anything in 3 years. We're I guess we're still a band, but we haven't played a show or practice in like 3 years. Well, hell yeah, man. Shit, we've been on here like 2 hours already, boys.
Yeah. It's been really easy. We probably do this all night, but we probably I gotta work in the morning and shit.
Likewise. Yeah, I gotta get up. You guys got anything going on, like anytime from now till, or anything that's not from now till Sunday? Because if it's then, nobody will see it. Nobody will see it till next Sunday.
No.
What do you mean?
No.
Shows?
Just like anything, like shows or anything going on.
Fucking the Beckley show on June 7th.
And then the next day we're in Harrisonburg. We're playing the last show at Crayola. But yeah,
I'll put the flyers up here for that or whatever too, right here.
It's our first hometown show. It's our first show, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna be there for that too for you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know Beckley that much. So you might have to fucking watch my back around there or something. I don't know how tough it is, but
Jake's got enemies,
we're
man.
going to the Beckley Art Center.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Anybody that comes down and they feel like it's too far of a drive, I've got a decent amount of sleeping space. So if you come to the Beckley Art Center show, you need a place to sleep.
They got you.
I got you.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys.
Man.
You'll have new music out probably sometime into the year, at least, right?
I'm thinking like early fall.
Hell yeah. Early fall-ish area. New agency going to be releasing. Got 2 shows coming up, Beckley and then Harrisburg.
Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Harrisonburg. Fuck yeah, I love you guys. You're one of my favorite bands. Like, legitimately, that's not just talking shit. I really do enjoy your guys' company, talking to you guys and listening to you guys. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking shit. And later. Love you.
Thank you.
Jason?
Yeah, we gotta cut out that awkward little break there, brother.
I know.
Nah, man.
Dude, I love answering questions. I'll answer fucking anything.
Well,
Dude, that was
it was like we just banged and it was weird and we're just sitting there.
You want a towel?